Welcome to my attic, where the larger OEM parts of my car are stored. I'm actually up here to show you the exhaust manifold because I'm going to talk about installing the Dezod Green header on the 2011 to 2016 Scion tCs. I've had a couple of requests on Facebook and on YouTube asking for my tips when I installed mine, so I'm going to go ahead and first do a quick overview of removing the exhaust manifold, and then I'll go downstairs and go outside and talk about installing the actual header itself. So first off, when you go to install the header, you gotta remove this beast. It's pretty heavy, it's pretty ugly. First thing you want to do is the O2 sensor is going to be installed here. You're going to unplug the harness and then carefully remove the O2 sensor. You do not want to accidentally damage the sensor. They do cost at least $100, and you don't want to replace it unless you need to. So once you take that out, you want to remove the heat shield. You're going to have 4 bolts. You're going to have this bolt here, here, and then along the top you'll have this one here and here. Now once you get the heat shield off, I'm going to leave it on for now because I'll show you when I go outside. There'll be 5 nuts that you remove, and they're going to be here, in the middle here, and then on this side, and then here and here. Next, there's going to be 2 brackets here. You can see I have them on here. They're going to be bolted to the side of the engine. You're going to want to remove the bolts from there. And then last, there's going to be 2 spring-loaded bolts that you're going to remove from here. So when you pop it out, you'll find that there's actually going to be, let me flip it over here. This is actually a donut gasket here. When you get the Dezod Green header, or even the Dezod Red header, you want to make sure that you order the gasket from them, because this will not fit. If you want to save some money, then you can actually pop this off and then carefully go around and Dremel it to widen the diameter here so that it'll fit. Alright, let's go ahead outside and take a look at the header now. So here is the header installed on the car. As you can see, unlike the exhaust manifold, there is no heat shield here. You don't need one. I hadn't had any problems with the heat during the summer, and I've had this for 8 months on here, and I've also seen that people in Arizona didn't have any problems with the heat either. Now, I've seen some posts asking, well, can I go ahead and reuse the heat shield from the exhaust manifold? And the answer is no. There's nowhere to bolt it. Now, if you're still concerned about the heat, you can get this ceramic coated before you install it, and that will not void the warranty. I did confirm that today with Chris Harrell at Dezod, and he said that is fine. Now, what you should not do is wrap these in the exhaust header wrap, because what that will do is that will trap the heat in the runners, and it won't let it dissipate properly, and it'll cause these welds to fail. I've seen a picture where the welds failed down by the collector area. And it's not just this header. I've seen various other headers from different cars, both online with pictures and in person at various shops, because they wrap their headers. So don't do that. Alright, so now let's go over why it's called the Dezod Green. So if you look, just underneath the primary O2 sensor is the primary catalytic converter. This is the only header for this car that has a cat. All the other ones that you get online are going to have no cat. Now, what that means is that when you bolt this on and start up the car, you're not going to have a check engine light. You will also have a good sounding exhaust. Now, if you don't have the cat on here, it'll sound raspy, and the check engine light will eventually turn on. So if you don't want to have a cat, they do make a version called the Dezod Red. Basically, instead of having the cat here, it's going to be a 2.5-inch collector going down to the S pipe. So that will also net, I think, 2 to 3 horsepower versus the green. You will need to go check out Vibrant makes an O2 restrictor. It's going to be kind of a half U shape. You can screw that into the secondary O2 sensor bung on the S pipe, and then use the middle fitting for that, and then screw your O2 sensor into there, and that will make the check engine light go away for those. Alright, now let's go over installing. So as you can see, here are the 5 studs and nuts that it's going to bolt onto here. You can go ahead and reuse the gasket as long as it is not damaged. If it's damaged in any way, replace it. Otherwise, you will have a leak here. So first thing to do is to hang it on the studs, and then start screwing it in, or tightening it in from this one here, then here, then here, then here, then here. Just do that hand tight. You want to keep doing that process again using a torque wrench then, and you want to bring it up to 26 foot-pounds. Again, doing the same pattern. Think about it like when you're doing the lug nuts on your wheels, so that you have even pressure all around. Now, a quick tip is the one down here, you'll probably use a box wrench just to tighten or loosen it, because the bracket from the alternator here is going to prevent really being able to work with a socket wrench. You'll need to remove this sender to have the room to actually work the box wrench there. Also, sometimes when you uninstall the manifold, you're taking it out, you might find that the studs will come out with it too. Now if you look, you will see that there is a star pattern on the front there. You can use a socket to hold that in place, and then a box wrench to basically get the nut and stud separated. Then you can just screw the stud back in there again before you install the header. Alright, so now that you've got that top part done, you're going to get the bolts down here. So you're going to take the supplied bolts and push it down through the top here on both sides into the S-pipe. Make sure you don't forget to put the donut gasket that you can get from Dezod on the bottom of the header. I definitely do recommend getting their gasket instead of modifying the stock one though, because it'll be easier. So once you have the bolts on there, you're going to need to either have someone from above hold the the bolt from moving, or you're going to have to wrap your arms around and hug it, and then you're going to push the spring that you took off from when you took the manifold off, and then push it on from underneath, and then push the nut in place, and then tighten it down. Now, you don't need to tighten it all the way down so that the spring is fully compressed. You want to be able to have the spring actually work as a spring to some degree. So just you tighten it down so that there's a little bit of spaces between each spring. Now, I'm going to give you a quick tip on this though. You will get, as I said, the 2 bolts from the company, and it will work on most cars, but on my car I couldn't get the spring compressed enough to be able to get the nut on the end, so I had to go frantically call my other TC friend and have him drive me to Home Depot to pick up a longer bolt. So just do yourself a favor. Once you get the header, go to Home Depot, pick up a grade 8 bolt that is 1/2 inch, and perhaps also another pair that is 1 inch longer than the one supplied, just so that you don't get stuck in a rut where the car is partially disassembled and then you can't drive anywhere until you get a new bolt. Alright, great. So that's the basic install. Let's go ahead and hop in the car and I'll talk about the header a little. So the first thing you need to do before you go out for a drive is break the catalytic converter in. If you don't do that, you might suffer a premature cat failure, or it might not function properly at all, and you'll throw a check engine light. The process is pretty easy. Just have to have a little bit more patience there after doing the install. All you have to do is start the car up, let it idle for 5 minutes. Don't touch the pedal during that time. You might as well just go ahead and check to make sure you don't have any exhaust leaks. After 5 minutes, bring the RPMs up to 2,500 and hold it there for 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, you can go ahead, turn off the engine, and you have to let the engine cool down completely. So after it's cooled off, go for a ride. Now, I will say, after I installed mine, and this was 8 months ago, I felt the power gains around 2,800 RPMs and up, maybe 2,900, which is nice because I've seen some headers that people put on and they don't get the power gain until the upper RPMs. So what that means is that I get to actually appreciate the header on my day-to-day driving, because I rarely go over 4,000 RPMs unless I have to hard accelerate for something like passing or merging into traffic. The other thing is that it will increase the sound levels of the exhaust. When I put this on originally, I only had the Borla exhaust, which had a nice note on it. It did increase the sound of that exhaust. It did change the exhaust note a little bit, but I think it made it sound better. What you're hearing currently as I'm driving around is the same exact setup, except I've also added the 2.5 inch single piece agency power S pipe. and that actually matches the 2.5-inch outlet on the header. That will also increase the exhaust sound, but it didn't seem to change the exhaust note that I had already. So if you're going to get a header, I definitely recommend grabbing the green. I really enjoy mine. I'm very happy that I waited and saved and got it. If you don't want to have the cat, then at least stick with the Dezod red. I have heard some other headers on the car that don't have cats, and by far the red sounds the best, and it also has less rasp than the other cats. I think that's actually kind of why the green has such a nice exhaust tone, is that it's basically a red, except it has the cat on it, and the red's design already sounds better than all the other headers, and then you add the cat on to get rid of the rasp, and boom, you've got a really nice header. So, all right, well, thanks for watching my video.